lot of armies are being built up right now, and the walls are closing in. It's gonna get pretty chaotic here soon. It's not looking good for them. Welcome back. Today we continue the match that we started a few weeks ago, and to quote Gandalf,
"The board is set, and the pieces are moving."
So there should be some fun epic battles queued up. I'm excited to get into the match. Let's begin. If you're new here, my name is Julian, and on this channel I document my journey in creating the ultimate strategy board game, Pincer, A Gentleman's War. Head over to my website, playpincer.com, and learn how you can playtest today. To give a quick recap, Red is pursuing an economic strategy, Blue is pursuing a military or offensive strategy, and Yellow has been pursuing a sort of reactionary strategy. Red currently has 2 colonies, and they're heavily defended by their forts. Yellow actually lost a colony to Blue in the last video. Blue tried a novel strategy of building a road and a bridge directly to Yellow's colony and then attacking it. And that's where we left off. It's currently Red's turn, so let's get into it. Okay, they rolled a fish. Red actually spent all of their cards in their last turn to build this fort to protect against Yellow's aggression. As you can see, Yellow has a frigate headed to their port, and they also have a musketeer only 2 tiles away from their colony. Unfortunately, Red only has 1 iron ore card, so there's nothing they can do right now. They need to save up cards so they can buy new units. They could really benefit from a cannon so they can get rid of Yellow's frigate that's threatening to blockade their port. That's where Red's at right now. I just realized that I didn't give out cards out for Red's roll, and I already forgot what they had rolled, so I'm going to roll one more time. And they rolled a Mustang. Okay, so we'll just give everyone a Mustang. That doesn't really change anything. Now we'll go to Yellow. Okay, wheat. Looks like Blue and Yellow both get a wheat. Yellow had an unfortunate event occur recently. They lost their 2nd colony to Blue, and they actually had quite a bit going for them until then. Luckily for them, they have a lot of cards, and they're the only player right now that has a frigate in the game. So they have a choice to make. Do they continue with their strategy to blockade Red's port, or do they divert their frigate to assist in the liberation of their 2nd colony? This really is a tough choice because Red is just about as big a threat to Yellow as Blue is, and blockading their port would take away their trade bonus, significantly damaging their economy, but at the same time their 2nd colony is annexed right now. So I think we have no choice but to come to the rescue. I'm going to move this musketeer up. I'm going to move my frigate adjacent to it. So Yellow's next turn, this musketeer can hop on the frigate, and we can move them quickly up the coast to liberate their 2nd colony from Blue. Now they do have a lot of cards, and they're going to buy another musketeer. And that's all they can do right now. We'll go to Blue. They rolled a fish. Blue hasn't had access to fish the whole game until now. Since they have Yellow's colony annexed, they assume all the benefits of that colony, so they actually get their first fish of the game. They actually don't get any fish right now. They don't have access to it. It looks like Red gets 2 fish. Blue fish, green fish, red fish, blue fish. Okay, let's look at Blue's cards. They've been laying low, and they have a ton of cards right now. I diverted this musketeer from assisting in the attack of Yellow's colony so that he can move to this wheat tile because we have enough cards to build another colony. So to build a colony, he'll need 2 stone, which he has, 2 lumber, which he has, an iron, and a wheat. We'll go ahead and trade all these in, and we'll build Blue's 2nd colony on this wheat. They've been after that the whole game. It's nice they finally have it. Let's see what cards we have left over. 2 iron, 4 mustangs, a lumber, a wheat, and a fish. They also have a trade bonus now that they have these 2 colonies connected by a road, bringing it down from 5 to 1 to 4 to 1. I just remember they have the ability to purchase cavalry units now that they have 2 colonies connected by a road. So a cavalry unit, 1 mustang, and 2 wheat. I think they're going to build that. Actually, they only have 1 wheat and 4 mustang. I think I'm going to hold off and see if another wheat is rolled because I really don't want to trade in 4 cards. Okay, Red's turn. They rolled a lumber. So Red gets 2 lumber. Blue actually gets 3 lumber. Wow. Let me reshuffle these. It looks like Yellow gets 1 lumber. Now let's look at Red's cards. They got pretty lucky with blue attacking yellow on this side, since it'll be diverting attention away from them. They have 2 fish. I think I'm going to build another musketeer. They really need to build their army back up. I'll move this musketeer out, and we'll put the new musketeer in. Looks like they have 2 lumber and an iron, so perhaps their next turn they can buy a frigate. Yellow should be pretty concerned with these new musketeers. They're sort of fighting on 2 fronts right now. That's all that red can do, so we'll go to yellow. They rolled a Mustang. Looks like yellow gets 1, blue gets 2, and red gets 1. That's all the Mustang right now. If that's rolled again, no one gets it. All right, looking at yellow, they're going to proceed with their plan, put their musketeer on this frigate. Now he can move 2 tiles up the coast, and he'll be able to attack blue on the next turn and reclaim their second colony, the rightful heirs. Let me see how many cards I have. I'd really like to buy new units. Be nice if I can take this colony over on my next turn and then buy more frigates. I think that'd be useful for attacking red. So we'll go to blue's turn. Okay, blue rolled an iron. That'll be good for yellow. Looks like everyone just gets 1 iron. So blue's turn. They've got a mound of cards right now. Blue obviously sees yellow's attack on the move, and they need to figure out a way to get more troops over here to help secure and defend that colony. I noticed that blue actually has a fortify maneuver card that corresponds with hill. That'll buy me some time. If yellow tries to attack this colony, they could play their fortify maneuver and fend off that attack. So I definitely need to keep that card. Analyzing the scene though, if they didn't have that card, I would probably be forced to move this musketeer either across the bridge or to this lumber tile right here. I've talked about this in other videos. Sometimes if you're defending a tile, it's best to not actually defend from that tile, but to defend from an adjacent tile. The only problem with that though, is that by moving my musketeer out of the colony, it immediately goes back into possession of yellow, and it's no longer annexed by blue. As blue, I would also love to take over red's first colony right here on the wheat. I guess they're both on wheat, but this colony right here, it has a fort, but it has no units in it right now. And I know red is diverted with yellow. So I think I'm going to start moving this musketeer that way. They're going to need a siege unit, a cannon, or a frigate to attack those walls. So I'm looking what I can do. We have 3 iron, and I think I'm going to trade in 4 cards for my 4th iron so I can purchase a cannon. So that's 3 iron. It does kind of pain me because 2 of those iron had outflank maneuvers on them. But if you don't have units, you can't use the maneuvers. So I'm going to put my new cannon in this colony right here. I really think blue needs more units though. I'm looking what they can trade in. They have a fish and a wheat. They would have to trade in almost all their other cards to buy another unit. I think it's worth it though. They're going to need it to fight yellow. I think they're going to buy a cavalry unit. So they're going to trade in 4 cards for a wheat. Then they have 1 more wheat, a Mustang, and they're going to put a cavalry unit in this colony. Cavalry move by 2 tiles per turn, so he'll be able to aid quickly in this assault here. Okay, let's go to red. They rolled a lumber. I'm gonna have to reshuffle these quick. Looks like red gets 2, blue gets 3, yellow gets 1. Looking at red's cards, they've got some good ones. I think we can make some good moves this turn. They definitely have enough for a frigate, and I'm going to go ahead and buy 1. So that is 2 lumber and 2 iron. This is the first frigate of red's in the game. One thing you have to watch out for buying new frigates is if they're in range of another frigate, because you don't want to buy one and have it immediately attacked after purchasing it. I see blue amassing an army up here, but I think I have a little time to prepare for that. In the meantime, I'm going to move my musketeers this way on the march to attack yellow's colony. That's really all they can do this turn. Go to yellow. They rolled an iron. I think everyone gets 1 iron. They do have 1 maneuver on their fish card, which corresponds with water, and it is encirclement. It says, play before moving or attacking. Take 2 consecutive moves or attacks with separate units. Honestly, that doesn't help them too much to attack this colony, but yellow really has no choice right now but to try and reclaim their colony from blue. So they're going to move their frigate up 1 and now move in and attack blue's musketeer. Now this is the part where it's funny playing against yourself, because I know that blue has the Fortify Maneuver card, but if this was a real game, I wouldn't know that. So I probably would have attacked. So unfortunate for yellow, blue is playing their fortified maneuver card, which deflects an attack. To read it, it says, play once attacked. Deflect enemy attack. Both players' units will remain in their original tiles. So it's not the worst news for yellow, not the best though. They just can't seem to reclaim their second colony. And more bad news for yellow, red has 2 musketeers on the move towards their first colony, and the walls are closing in. They do have a lot of cards right now though, so they definitely need to trade some of these in for more units. They have no wheat and only 1 fish though, so this is going to be very costly for them to buy a second musketeer, but they've got to do it. I'm going to save this fortify maneuver card. So we have 1 fish. We're going to have to trade in 5 cards to buy a second fish. I'm trying to choose the cards they're least likely to need. So they'll trade in 2 lumber and 3 mustang, move this musketman here, and then put their new musketmen in this colony. All right, we'll go to blue. They rolled a lumber. I'm not sure there's enough lumber to go around because blue gets 3, red gets 2. Yeah, there's only 5 lumber right now, so no one gets any. Let's look at blue's cards. An iron, 2 lumber, and a mustang. So that's not enough to do anything. They are going to move this cavalry unit by 2 spaces. Actually, no. If they land on this wheat, then yellow's musketeer could attack it, so they'll land right here. I guess yellow could still attack this musketeer if I leave him here, because they can move their frigate. So I guess I'll move into these woods. Basically, if he were to land anywhere on the coast right here, yellow could attack them with their musketeer. Blue lucked out on yellow's last turn when they tried to attack. Red had a fortify card he was able to deflect that attack with. He's not as lucky this time, so it's imminent on yellow's turn that they're going to attack and reclaim this colony. The only thing that blue can do is move into this lumber tile right here, out of range of yellow's musket, essentially liberating this yellow colony, but still under threat of blue's musketeer. Shifting focus onto blue's western front though, they're building up a small army here, and they're really wanting to attack this colony. If you remember in last video, blue attempted to attack this colony, but had a devastating loss when red used their outflank card, which allowed them to take out blue's cannon. So we don't want that to happen again. But I have no units in this colony, so I think I am going to move my cannon up and move this musketeer, and we're just going to get in position to siege this colony. And it looks like that's all blue can do right now. Alright, stone. That has not been rolled yet this game. Last video that was rolled quite a lot, but it looks like red gets 1 and blue gets 1. They have 3 mustang, a stone, an iron, and a lumber. Well, I think I'm going to start by moving my frigate up 2 spaces. Moving here, he's out of range of yellow, but it also allows me to put a musketeer on this frigate. I'm trying to think out how I can attack this colony and claim it. Putting my musketeer on this frigate will be good because now he can get wherever he needs to be quickly. If blue decides to siege this colony, I can move him across the channel and attack whatever unit they put on the stone. It also keeps me out of range of any attack from yellow since musketeers can't attack frigates. I think I'm going to move this musketeer right here. A lot of armies are being built up right now. It's going to get pretty chaotic here soon, especially playing for all 3 players. Let's see what happens. Yellow's turn. They rolled a fish. Looks like red gets 2 fish, blue gets 1. Actually, blue does not get a fish. They don't control this colony anymore. Yellow gets the fish. I forgot that blue retreated out of that colony, so it's no longer annexed by them. Yellow actually has a fortify maneuver card that corresponds with hill, so I think we could probably move this musketeer here and deflect an attack from blue, and then on yellow's next turn, hopefully they can take out that musketeer. I think I need to get these musketeers out of range of red, so I'm going to move this one here and this one here, eliminating any threat of an attack from this frigate. Yellow actually has enough to buy another frigate, so I will redeem the 2 iron, 2 lumber, and they'll move their current frigate out of the port to this tile, and they'll place their nice new shiny frigate in this port. They now have a very formidable navy. Red needs to watch out. Let's go to blue. They rolled a mustang. Looks like blue gets 2. They have 1 here, here. Red gets 1. Yellow gets 1. Okay, so blue has 2 lumber, an iron, 3 mustang, and a stone. And no maneuvers. I was hoping they'd have one. I think I'm going to focus on this western front first. I'd really like blue to take over this colony. It's unfortunate for them because there's a mountain terrain right here that no land unit can go into. But if I position my cannon on the coast on this stone right here, it's in range of red's frigate and musketeer. Having a mountain is really helping red out right now. It's also hurting blue quite a bit that they don't have a port. They have no way to make a frigate. Positioning units anywhere on this coast is going to be extremely dangerous for blue. I think I am going to keep moving this musketeer around to flank their colony on this side. I might actually move this cavalry piece up 2 pieces to the stone. If red decides to attack with his musketeer, I could use my counter move and guard this cavalry unit with my cannon. And once I get this musketeer onto this lumber tile, it might start to choke their resources out. Going over to this eastern front though, I'm trying to decide what to do with this musketeer. Obviously he's in range of yellow's musketeer. This is another situation where I'm trying to think what I would do if I wasn't playing myself. And honestly, I think it might be a tell that yellow would position a musketeer in their colony knowing I have one adjacent. In a real game, that would probably tell me that they do have the fortify maneuver card. So I think I wouldn't attack in that case. The best option might be for me to move this musketeer to this tile here out of range. This also puts him in a position where if any musketeer maneuvers, they'll be able to attack. So we'll end blue's turn. Let's go to red. They rolled a wheat. Red has no access to wheat. Yellow does and blue does. They each get 1 wheat. So red actually has a fortify maneuver card. And I think what my plan of attack is, I'm going to move this musketeer onto this hill tile right here, and then move this one onto the frigate. If yellow tries to attack me on the next turn, I can use my fortify and then attack them on my next turn, and I have this musketman to guard me. But red also has another fortify card, which corresponds with water. Observing how yellow has built up this fleet, it'll be a good idea to hold on to that. Now red also has to be concerned of blue encroaching on this colony. I'm trying to determine the best move to make to defend that. The best case scenario would be a cannon. It's tempting to trade cards and put a unit in this city, but there's also the opportunity of taking over yellow's colony, so I think I need to purchase another unit for this colony to attack yellow. I have 1 fish and 3 Mustang, which I'm going to trade in for another fish, and I'm going to purchase another unit in this colony. Things aren't looking good for yellow right here. They have a lot of musketeers closing in. They really need to build a fort if they can. Let's go to yellow. And they rolled a Mustang, and red is actually occupying their Mustang tile, so they don't get 1. Looks like blue gets 2, and red gets 1. Yellow still has some options, but the walls are definitely closing in on them. I think they're going to have to move their navy to attack red's frigate, so we'll move them up each one by their respective moves, which is 2. And they outnumber red, so they'll definitely come out on top of this. I could attack red's musketmen right now, but he's technically guarded by this second one, and I just realized I missed an opportunity. I should have put this musketman on one of these frigates and maneuver them over. This musketeer is kind of trapped. He can't move into any of these tiles without the threat of being attacked by this musketman. I guess he could move across the bridge, though. That might be a good move. I'm just going to move him across the bridge. Let's look at what cards he has. Yellow has quite a few maneuvers. We have a fortify, which corresponds with hills. We have an ambush card, which corresponds with lumber. We have another ambush card. And then we have a third ambush card, which is for water. So the frigates can use that. It'd be nice to buy another unit right now. I could trade in a lot of cards. I have 1 wheat. I'd have to trade in 4 cards. I just can't bring myself to do that. But I don't know how this is going to play out. Let's go to blue. They rolled a stone. And blue's actually occupying red stone tiles, so they don't get 1. The only person that gets stone right now is blue. I do think first move, though, I'm going to put this musketeer in this lumber tile. Blue, I think, can actually use this naval conflict between red and yellow to their advantage. Red is most likely going to lose this naval unit, at which point blue can position their cannon adjacent to red's colony and attack the fort after 1 turn. I think blue needs to buy another cannon. They only have 1 iron, though. They don't have a trade bonus right now, so they have no hope of trading cards in for another one. It would take them 15 cards to get the 4 iron they need. They really need more units though. I think I'm going to use this wheat, this Mustang, trade in 5 cards, which would be 2 stone and 3 Mustang. I'll spend this Mustang and a wheat. All of that gets me another cavalry unit. I think he needs to just bombard and overload red with units. He also has this musketeer, but I think I'm going to leave him there. Let's go to red. They rolled a Mustang. Yellow doesn't get one. Red is still occupying that tile. Looks like red gets 1 and blue gets 1. Red has a lot of choices to make. They really want to take over this colony. I think I need to launch a full-scale assault. I'll start by disembarking this musketeer, moving this musketeer to this tile, and then I'm going to attack yellow with my red musketeer. Now yellow gets a counter move, so they're definitely going to attack this musketeer. And now red's turn resumes. I can either move my frigate out of range of yellow's navy, or I can try to attack one. I don't know the best move. I guess it would make more sense to move him out of range. I'm going to retreat him back to the harbor. I'm going to see if I have any other cards. I have no wheat, only 1 fish, and I'm saving the fish because it has a fortify maneuver. I don't really have much else I can do. We're going to go to yellow. And they rolled a lumber, and I'm occupying yellow's lumber tile. Actually, they have 2 others, so they still get that card. But blue is actually occupying one of red's lumber tiles, so they don't get that. I do get one for this colony, though. Yellow gets 2, and blue gets 2 as well. Okay, so yellow's turn. I mean, right off the bat, they have no choice but to attack this musketeer, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Now red gets a counter move, and they will attack in retaliation. Yellow's turn resumes, and I think we're going to continue closing in by moving our navy up and isolating red's frigate this way. I'm not sure why I moved my musketeer across the bridge. That didn't really accomplish anything. I think I'm going to have to trade in cards to buy another musketeer, though. I mean, this colony is lost now that I'm looking at it. Even if I were to buy another musketeer and put him there, red could just attack him on their next turn. So honestly, it's not even worth it to put a musketeer there. This is not good for yellow. But I guess I'll trade in all these cards and buy a musketeer for this colony. I just realized a better move I could have made. Oh man. So I have a fortify maneuver card. If I had instead moved my musketeer to this tile, I could use my fortify card if attacked. I don't know how that would have played out, but that probably would have been a better move. Another bad move I made was not putting this musketeer on one of these frigates. I could have transported them over here to assist with this attack. I don't know if we're going to get that colony back. Let's go to blue. They rolled a Mustang. All right, so everyone has their Mustang. Let's look at blue's cards. So something I just realized is that in order to attack a fort, you have to have a siege unit, a cannon or a frigate, immediately adjacent to that colony's walls for a whole turn, and then you can attack the colony with a separate land unit. I hope that makes sense. But looking at the map, yellow has a frigate immediately adjacent to red's colony with a fort. So the question is, can blue now attack red's colony, even though they don't own this yellow frigate? I think the answer should be yes, because I think alliances should be a thing in my game. However, I don't think they should be allowed to on this turn because it hasn't been a whole turn of yellow's yet. So I think on blue's next turn, if yellow still has a frigate immediately adjacent to the colony, then they should be able to attack it. They have a lot of cards. They don't really have anything to buy right now. I am going to move this cavalry unit 2 tiles over to this hill tile in range of yellow's musketeer, so he could potentially attack him on blue's next turn. Let's go to red. They rolled a stone, and blue's occupying red stone, so they don't get that. Blue's actually the only one that gets a stone. The first move, blue's obviously going to come in and annex this colony. And now yellow is down to just this 1 colony. It's not looking good for them. But it's also not looking good for red either, since we have yellow and blue right at their doorstep. What is the best move to make? I still have this fortify maneuver card that corresponds with water, so I might leave my frigate there. I could at least fend off a turn. I think I really need to buy another unit though, and I'm going to have to trade in because I have no wheat or fish. So I'm going to have to trade in this stone, this lumber, Mustang, Mustang, lumber, another lumber, and I'm going to put a new unit in this colony. That'll end Red's turn. Wheat. Red gets a wheat since they have annexed Yellow's colony. I guess Yellow's going to attack Red's frigate with their frigate, so he'll move up 1, boom. Now, obviously, I know that Red has a fortify maneuver card that corresponds with water, so Red is going to play that. Yellow, that fends off an attack. Red does have a counter move, though, and I don't think they're going to use their counter move, though. Alright, so Yellow's turn resumes. They don't really have much to do, so we're going to go to Blue. Okay, they rolled a lumber. Blue gets 2 lumber. Red only gets 1 because Blue is occupying their lumber tile. Actually, Red gets 1 because they have annexed Yellow's colony. Yellow gets 1. Yellow has had a frigate adjacent to Red's colony for a whole turn, so I think it's fair game for Blue's musketeer to move in and attack the fort, removing it from the board. Now Red gets their counter move, so I guess they will use this musketeer to attack and temporarily reclaim their colony from Blue. So Blue's turn resumes. I think we're going to maneuver this cavalry unit around and re-attack Red's colony from this side. I'll leave the cannon there. I'm also going to move this cavalry unit up. I think they're going to trade in these 5 cards since they have no trade bonus. It's going to be 3 lumber and 2 Mustang. And then they're going to purchase another cavalry piece, and they'll need 1 more Mustang and a wheat. And they'll put it in this colony. I think we're going to end here for today. Part of me was thinking that we might get through the rest of the match in this video, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I guess I'll make 1 more. I think total I've been playing this game for... It's been under an hour, so when it's all said and done, it'll probably be about an hour 20-minute match, which is within the time frame that I would like my game to be in. I think I'm standing corrected because my go-to strategy, which is an economic strategy that Red was pursuing, doesn't seem to be panning out that well for them. It looks like Blue pursuing their military strategy might get the slight edge in this match. They have no trade bonus, but they definitely have the most units, and that's paying off for them right now. They'll definitely take over this colony. I think Red should have realized the threat that Blue was posing and go on the defense against Blue better. Yellow's just been beat up this whole game. I do think there is a chance they could reclaim this colony from Red, given the circumstance with Blue and Red's war over here. They could probably divert some musketeers down to take back this colony. I'm still having a great time playing this, though. Thank you all for watching. I think it's been a lot of fun. I think this is the first time I've played against myself for this long. It's been pretty insightful. I'll have to make a video reflecting on the things I've learned about my game in the future once this is finished up. So I think we'll make 1 more video for this, hopefully wrap up the match. I appreciate you all so much for watching and for the support. I'll see you soon. Farewell.